Why did you break up with your last ex? He decided to see other women but forgot to tell me about it. So cute when they do this, same here. Mine suddenly remembered 7 months later when we were in the middle of Sting, and he thought I'd enjoy hearing about it. AWWWW, so special? I've never been the one to break up with someone. My last partner broke up with me 2 weeks before our wedding because the guy that always got away was single and in town. They dated for a year. He stole her money, knocked her up, disappeared. She called me back after all that and asked if we could get back together. I laughed and hung up. Best response from you, man. Keep it up. He made me drive him and his girl bestie, who I never really trusted or liked, home from a Halloween party, and they both sat in the back seat like I was their darn Uber driver. Oh, if no? And he was shocked when I was mad about it after months of watching him frolic with her LMFAO. Emotional A. When I realized that preferred being at work than at home with my GF, I knew it was time to end things. When you feel more open and comfortable at work than at home, it's difficult. But glad you got out of it and hope life is significantly better now. Thank you. It's been about 4 years now. Life is much better these days. She was always angry. She actively looked for reasons to be angry. My wife is the same way and it drives me crazy, she once told me. If XYZ happens, then I get to be mad. I knew then that she looks for reasons to be mad and she enjoys it. I would say that could signify she's frustrated about something deeper and the surface things are less painful, heavy to show anger about. That, or she was raised in an angry environment and isn't comfortable without having some level of anger around her. It sounds weird and opposite to what you'd expect, but my husband has been working on this for years now. The quote, "If you're raised with an angry man in your house, there will always be an angry man in your house. You will find him even when he is no there," always comes to mind. The quote, "If you're raised with an angry man in your house, there will always be an angry man in your house. You will find him even when he is no there," always comes to mind. JFC, this just unpacked so much for me about myself in a couple sentences. Long story short, incompatible mental illnesses. I couldn't get my sh together while someone was actively drowning me in theirs. Put on your own oxygen mask first, kids. I can relate, not sure if my situation was necessarily mental illness. But basically, my ex's social anxiety and low self-esteem got in the way of us maintaining a relationship. I also struggle with those things to a lower degree, so needless to say, we were really not compatible. Yeah, the negative feedback loop where you want the best for each other but make each other worse is a real trip. Hope you're in better times now. He wanted to try his chance with a church girl, so I gave him the chance. She said no. He tried coming back. I said no. Proud of you. Because we brought the worst out in each other. Jimmy McGill and Kim Wexler. Effing tragic. My dad had passed away, and I really needed support. So she came over after I had found out he had died, and I bawled my eyes out for 45 minutes. Then when I was done for a few minutes, she said, "Darn, you cried for 45 minutes. B. What's that supposed to mean?" I knew that day that things were not gonna last between us. She became more distant after that, as if me struggling was just suddenly like, nope, not fun for me anymore, so I'm not gonna try for her. I'm currently in a relationship with the best girl I could have ever asked for, and I want to marry her, and might propose to her in a year or 2. Why wait, bro? I say go for it. Just responded to another person that said the same thing. I'd love to, though. I'm starting to work long distance just so I can buy her a ring or something and propose. She's on Reddit. But how often she stalks me or see this subreddit, so I hope she doesn't see it, haha. You don't have to get married in a certain amount of time after you propose. Just let her know she's the one. I tell her she's the one all the time. I want to make the proposal special, I think. She loves that kind of stuff, so that's why. Ingle, it was because he talked in a really annoying voice all the time, and his dick was so big it physically hurt to have us every single time eat it. Thanks for the upvotes, Yolamau. Come back, I'll try to change the way I talk, please. He'd just go good or be really high-pitched every time he died or something in games, and then he started using it in normal convos, the voice, and I was like, nah, I'm outie. After 5 years, 2 of them engaged, she said, I don't live you and never did. I don't want to marry you and never will. But you can still drive up here on the weekends to take me out. Noped right out of that one. What the actual F? Apparently I was good enough to be her ATM, but not good enough to meet her exacting standards from what I gathered. Her ex was a sometimes abusive alcoholic. I have a good paying job. Took her to teenage girls, and sometimes their friends on multiple vacations. I drove 150 miles each way most weekends to take her out for dinner and drinking. I guess that's not what she wanted. He had me on every level and was super controlling, even tried to give me a bedtime. Did he at least read a bedtime story? Not without brushing her teeth first. He was turning 30 and had no life goals. He was okay not having a job and not being a homeowner. I was 25 and knew it would always be like that if I didn't leave. He passed away at 35. I think about him often. It's okay to not have those goals, but it's also okay to need someone to be more in line with your own goals. It wouldn't have been a good relationship and was probably for the best you broke up. Thank you? I know. Now I'm 32 and I have friends who are over 30 that still don't have a career or house, and here I was expecting it from him. It's very bizarre how I feel, because we both moved on but kept up or tried to keep up with each other. I really loved him, and I know he really loved me, and I'm thankful he got to experience true deep love with me, but I couldn't stay with him. He knows he'll always have a piece of my heart. I made it clear when we broke up that I would always love him. I got a new puppy. She said she didn't like him and that I was giving the 8-week-old puppy too much attention, so he now uses her pillow. My ex said I treated the dog better than her. I pointed out the dog treated me better than she did. She did not want to connect the dots. Because apparently she slipped, fell, and landed on his dick. Someone should make a song with those lyrics. On a serious note, sorry that it happened to you. She said she would call me one night. I asked her to, and she didn't. Texted the next morning that she was busy. She'd been logged into the dating site where we met the entire night. She said she was busy. My one attempt at dating after splitting from my STBXH accused me of being online on the dating site we met on and ignoring him. I have no way of knowing whether I actually showed online or not, but I wear biometric devices to track my sleep and heart rate. Long COVID. I could prove using apps for both of them. I was asleep at the time he said I was online on the site. He may have been lying. Maybe not. I'm not saying she had a good excuse not to call. I'm just saying take those status notices with a grain of salt. She FA'd one of my friends and got pregnant while I was working my A off here in Korea. This happened to friend while he was deployed. His girlfriend sends him an ultrasound saying something like, "Look at our little 4-month-old bun in the oven." He sends back. B. The first shipped out 6 months ago. Turns out the best friend he asked to look after his girlfriend while he was away really looked after her. Got in an argument, went to a party later with her, and she snuck homemade in my drink. Woke up in the hospital with my stomach pumped and IVs in my arm. Told her if I ever saw her again, I wouldn't hesitate to knock her the F out. What in the name of unholy Lucifer is homemade GHB? The toxicology report showed traces of AHM, ketamine, medeema, and some other SH. The doctor said I probably would have died if I had come in later. Well, I was carried in by my friend who saw me collapse at the party. So, aha shot. The only reason to give you a mix like that is to K you. Depressants, stimulants, and disassociates in one batch. I'm trying to understand how that could be fun, or how your ex could construe it to be fun rather than attempted murder to a court. And I'm coming up short. It just sounds like a potential psychotic break to me. You're probably lucky you passed out rather than stayed conscious while your body processed all that SH. If you were walking and talking, people might not have realized how serious the situation was. I have no idea who she got it from. I was usually the one to get us stuff like Bud or Molly, but looking back on it, it was an extremely unhealthy and toxic relationship. And I have been sober ever since, 5 years going strong. She was and continues to be ex with kids together, extremely abusive in every way possible without doing anything illegal. Unfortunately, keeping my distance from her means distance from my kids too. It's a fine line between my own Safatai sanity and keeping my kids safe. Family court in my state doesn't care about emotional, financial, or administrative A. I can't wait until the kids are 18. Wishing you and your kids the best. Thank you. Because he was looking for pregnant women to bang on Craigslist. Doctors dislike him. Local man discovers secret to having unprotected S without pregnancy worries. Yes, but I was recovering from a pregnancy I had because of him. So he didn't really dodge any bullets there. We liked each other, but she felt that her future was in one city, and I felt that mine was in another. We're still friends. I married a great geek girl, and so did my ex, which might also explain things. Wait, she also married a great Greek girl. She had an unhealthy relationship with her mother. Toward the end, she took me mother with her to a music festival that I wanted to go to, and took her mother on our planned vacation to Halloween Horror Nights, because her mother would cry and say they never spend time together even though they saw each other almost daily. We had one car and I had just worked a super long day and was tired and just wanted to go home, so I was waiting for my ex to come pick me up in our shared vehicle. Instead, she pulls up with her mother in her car. I have to sit in the back alone, of course, and be excluded from conversation, and I'm told we are going to her mother's house to spend the night. I have no clothes to change into, and I just want to go home and relax. But I'm told that I'm being unreasonable, and we are going to go watch horror movies. I don't like horror movies and eat food from a restaurant that I dislike. They refused to drop me off at home, so I got out at a light, walked home, and moved out. It was a long time coming, but that was the final straw after almost 5 years of dealing with this insufferable toxic family. Jesus Christ, dude, I'm so sorry. No one wants to be third wheel to a parent. That sounds insufferable, but for putting up with it so long and being pretty understanding, it seems like you're a good dude and it's her loss. HMM, we chilled too much. To the point where I got unsettled. I need to be active and make a change around me to enjoy life. She just needs to lay back and be comfortable. I'm jealous and intolerant towards this. I think this is an underrated comment. My SO wants nothing more than to sit in front of a TV and binge watch I want to get out and do something. I don't mind watching a little, but when it is hours in the evening, I feel like my life is wasting away. This attitude permeates their life, and they seem fine with it. Nothing wrong with seeing that and moving on to find somebody who has the same life view. I once had an ex like this that he wanted to just play video games all day and me watch or play with him. I got fed up once when I got off work and he and my sister could tell I was annoyed. Do you want to watch YouTube then? Yeah, let's watch YouTube. In his world, YouTube consisted of watching other people play video games? I was a senior and she was a junior. I was going off to college, and it bothered her that I would be leaving. We decided to spare each other the heartbreak and end it before I left. Back in 2004, I was the junior, she was the senior. Moved 3,000 miles for college, graduated in 2007, moved back, and we kinda dated. Then she got into grad school and left, so we broke up. Then I moved 3,000 miles and in with her. Then she moved to Spain, but we stayed together. Long story short, we got married after 10 years of on-off again because she kept moving. Dude, take the hint. Too late. Shrug. She'd made a comment about everyone being too hard on Putin and he's a great guy. Proof that he's a good guy is that he likes animals. I just couldn't wrap my brain around it. Wow. With that logic, you could say the same about Hitler. Well, all that Hitler wanted was just a powerful and giant country after all. She was emotionally manipulative. Yep. He flirted with one of my friends and kept making comments about how hot other girls were. I'm very grateful I broke up with him because I met my no husband shortly after. I broke up with my ex-wife because she cheated on me with some random guy she met at a sci-fi convention. She took off with him. She shaved half her head and dyed the other half purple. She started wearing a dog collar and joined the carnival with him. Thankfully, she and I did not have any children. I am not kidding. This really happened. Fast forward 7 years. I am happily remarried to a wonderful woman. We have had 4 children from her previous marriage, and have never been happier. He didn't exist. I broke up with an illusion of him. Illusions, Dad. I'm breaking up with my illusions. I'm so happy for you, son. He broke up with me, via text, because he thought I was looking for something more serious than he was, which was true. Found it with an old friend of mine. Happily married for 4 years now. Congrats, bro. He ghosted me after 5 years of dating. Just stopped texting me one day. No closure or explanation. He also spent those 5 years gaslighting me into why we can't live together. Why I'm crazy for bringing up children. Why he never can take a vacation together. Why he only wants to see me once a week so he can get in boy time too. Wasted my whole darn youth on him. Darn. Sounds married. She was unsubscribed from life due to hospital negligence. Darn. Sorry to hear that. I'm divorced because my husband had an affair for 3 years after our child died. Such a great guy. I can't even. A. All kinds of A. The beginning was awesome. We'd cook together, watch some Netflix, play games, cuddle, and all that jazz. Unfortunately, I realized I had to walk on eggshells around her through several incidents, such as me mispronouncing the name of a restaurant and her getting genuinely upset over it. And as much as I respect her, I like to keep negativity out of my life, so I ended up cutting it off for good. Funnily enough, best lovemaking we ever had. Though, I've had a very similar experience. One is kinda sad funny looking back. We were talking about driving experience. I claimed I'm the more experienced driver out of us. This seemed to slightly upset her that I could claim as such. My driving experience: heavy truck license, driving 36. 0 kilograms trucks all over a big motorcycle license. I like to ride in the summer, driving in 12 countries, including 2,500 kilometers in Vietnam, Cambodia. Firm tow truck driver, towing vehicles in snowstorm. Can drive 5 SPD, 13 SPD, and 18 SPD heavy trucks, driving all kinds of trailers, gooseneck and bumper pull off-road. Driving in my lifted for dwurs, going to the mountains for ski trips, city driving.